Hello there, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to make an app, Laravel multiple authentication app, whereby you can have two routes, that is an admin and a normal user. So we are going to implement it in Laravel using Jetstream. Now we're going to use Jetstream, which is under Laravel 8. And the important thing here we're going to do is that we're going to use Jetstream so that we may have a normal user and an admin so that you can log in between the two parts. So let's say you are making an application, website, or an e-commerce whereby you need to have an admin going to his side and also having the normal user being directed to another place. So we're going to use Laravel and using Jetstream. Now Jetstream is an application, or it's a framework that enables you to get started quickly in a website and so forth. So now what we are going to do today, or where we are going to get started, is I have already installed the Jetstream, which is easy to install. You just need to have to run these several commands. For example, if you do not have it installed, this is just a simple way you can use to install it. So what you need to do here, the first command would be just this command, Laravel new. That is Laravel new, that is the name of the project, and then --jet, so that you can install the Jetstream. And then once you click enter, it should ask you the type of Laravel that you need to have, which Jetstream stack do you prefer. So Jetstream comes under two forms. It comes under Livewire or Inertia. For you to understand more, is you just need to read their documentation, because this tutorial is not about that. And for example, let's say Inertia mostly will use the view, and then Livewire will be the other normal version of it. So what you need to do here is that for you to get started well, you may need to go under documentation of Jetstream and as well Livewire or Inertia. So since I already have it installed, I will not install it. So I'll just cancel this. But you can get started with it using any form way. So now let's begin. So the first thing we need to do, since already have it installed, as I've said, so you just need to run the particular command as I've said, and then once you finish, run npm install and npm run dev, so that you can combine and mix your Laravel CSS and so forth. So that's how you get started with Jetstream. So once you have Jetstream installed, the next thing we need to do now here is you just now need to get started. Now another thing before we start with this tutorial you need to know is that I already changed this Jetstream. Now Jetstream comes with Tailwind CSS, and the Tailwind CSS is that if you have a bit of knowledge about it, I've already done a tutorial on it as well, how to get started with Tailwind framework. So when you install Jetstream, it comes with Tailwind CSS, but since I needed to use the Bootstrap, I had to convert it to Bootstrap, and so I'm using Bootstrap. But when you go, for example, to the login page, to the login blade, you can now see this is Tailwind CSS framework. This is how it is presented if you are not familiar with it, but it will still go with the Bootstrap that I've already changed. Now there's a package that does that, and for you to get started with, you need to go to this particular GitHub repository, and you'll get started with in other words, you're able to change your Tailwind CSS to Bootstrap. That is by installing the Jetstrap, and the Jetstrap is this one. So if you install this one, it will install all the dependencies that you need to use, and then as well you can get started with it. Once you finish, you just need to run this command, swap the Livewire, and then finally you run npm install and npm run dev. So we are not going to do that since I've already done it to save time. As I've said, now another thing you need to know is that I will copy some of the code in this tutorial, because some of the code is also too lengthy, and as well to save time, so is to make this tutorial a bit smaller. But I will explain step by step, so you just need to follow up with me, and then you'll be good to go. So now let's get started with this. Now, as I've said, we are going to get started. We are going to implement a Laravel mod authentication, whereby you're going to have a normal user and an admin. So normal users are directed to their path, and the admins are directed to their path. You may be wanting to make such an application whereby you need to have admins directed to this part and normal user to this other part. Step. So let's get started. So enough of the talking, so let me get started. Now you need to have this installed, as you have said, and let's now start with running the application. So PHP artisan serve. So let's open this application. So I'm opening it at 127.800, just the local server. So now this is Laravel Jetstream. So under Laravel Jetstream, this is what happens. So let's go to the login page. This is the login page. If you are new to Jetstream, this is how Jetstream is. It is kind of advanced from the earlier versions of Laravel. So another thing is, let's look at the registration page. So now you need to realize I've already converted this from to Bootstrap, so it is using Bootstrap. So some styling might have changed. So now let's go to the login page, and let me log in. So I've already registered a name. So let me just log in to this. In other words, it registers and logs in. It's taken off to the normal dashboard. So now this is the normal dashboard for Laravel Jetstream. So what you need to know is that the normal user will be directed to this path, and then this is what will be presented. Now if you get to implement this application more, you are able now to put something different. Let's say it's a blog, so the normal users will be directed to the path that you want them to go to. And then let's just see some of the things with Jetstream. So Jetstream also has the themes and all these things that we are not going to look at today. And then it also has a profile whereby you are able to check your profile within Jetstream. So this is Jetstream. It also has your name and the email. And as well, the good thing that comes with Jetstream is the two-factor authentication. This one I will explain it in another tutorial. So this is what Jetstream is all about. But we are now looking at multiple authentication now. Now when you type here, for example, the admin, you'll now be taken to the admin page, whereby you're able to implement the admin. But since it's not implemented, this is what we're going to do. So alright guys, so let's get started. So now the first thing we need to start is let's go to the auth.php. Now auth.php has the guards, and the guards is whereby we have it defines for us the places whereby when the user is signed in, is able to be taken to. So the first guard here, we can see here we have the session and the users as well. So here we only have now the users session is in this place. So what we're going to do in the auth.php, we are going to add an admin session as well, so that the admin can also get logged in when he logs into your website. So let's start from this part. So the first part is the guards, and this is where we are going to get started with. Now, as I've said, I'll copy some of the code so that we may just save time in this tutorial, but I'll explain it as we continue. So now let's get started. So now the first thing we need to do here, we'll need to add an admin guard. So So we're going to add an admin session, just like you can see from above. So what we'll need to do here, I'll just need to copy some of this instead of having to type all of it again. And what we're going to do here, we are going to change this to an admin so that we can have an admin session and as well. So providers here is going to be the admins instead of now users. So we are going to have admin there. And the next thing we are going to do here, we are going to have the API. Now the API is just the same way as we had this particular. So we are just doing similar thing under this. So we are going to have the API there. So the driver, same token, the providers now will be the admins. And then the hash will be false as well. So now that is what is within the admins. That is under the authentication guards. Now the next one, since we are now done with that, so here we'll need to have now let me just save this and let's just see what's going on. So now the next thing we'll need to do is to edit the providers array. So under the providers array, you can see we have a model and the model is user. Now guys, this thing is still the same thing, so I'll just have to copy and edit what we are doing, what we're going to do here. So the same thing we are going to do is just copy this and then edit it for our admins. So you are going to change this to admins, and as well now this one is going to be the model here is going to be the admin. So that's going to be the admin class, and as well now what we need to do, this is quite fine. So let me just save this. Now the next one will be the passwords. So under the passwords we are going also to change something. So under the passwords we are going to change, we are going to edit also the passwords for the admin so that we can establish the password the admin signs with. So we are also going to change this to admins providers, that is providers is going to be the admins and so forth. So now this is what happens within the authentication. I think we are done with this thing and like so. So hoping you understanding up to there. So what we are changing here, we are just, it's quite easy. We are just implementing, we are adding the admin in our auth.php. So let's go to the next thing. Now once we are done with this one, the next thing we need to do, we need to go to the routes. So let's go to the routes. So under the web, we are going now to establish an admin. So this admin we are going to establish, we're going to make a new admin.php file which is going to have the admin functionality, the parts. So you're going to define the routes under the admin. So in the routes, go and make an admin.php, and then within the admin, within the web.php, you're going to require the admin.php. This should be in quotes. So this is what's happening there. Let's save that. So now within the admin, we are going to establish the path that we are going to use so as to establish there's an error here. Let me just see. So I think this should be under the, so now let's go back to the admin.php. So here we are going to establish the routes within the admin.php. Now the admin.php, let me just bring out the code just to save time because of the typing. Let me just paste this. So guys, so what I'm doing here is that we have the route group, prefix admin function, and here now we are establishing a login controller dot show login form. Now we are going to create a login controller in the under the admin, so that this login controller will handle all the login, the logout functionality within our website under the admin part. So we are what we have done here, we have created an admin.php whereby we are now establishing the routes for our admin. So so the next thing now we need to do here, we need to have a show login form which is showing our login. Then let me copy and paste this code here. Now here we are going to show the particular login itself. So here we are only going to have the login itself. The last one we are going to have is the login in so this is login. So this one we are going to change it to login. That is admin login. And then this one we are going to have a logout, so whereby the admin can as well log out from his or her session. Now this one is not going to be the same as this. Is going to be admin login.post, whereby when it gets logged in, this is what is going to happen. So now we need to establish, okay, this one is also logout, so this one is going to be admin.logout, and then this is login. So this one we are going to have it as logout as well. So this is admin.logout, and then this is this controller at logout, and then now this one, since it is post, we are going to have the route post, so it's going to do the post for us. So now here we are done. So what we are doing here is that we are going to create a controller file under the controllers, and then this file is going to have the login, the show login form, and then it's going to have the post where the admin gets logged in, and where the admin can as well log out from our website. So here we need to have a closing, so we need to have these brackets and also the closing like that. Now since we are not done with this one, we are still coming to it back again. So let me save this. So there's an error here, so let me just quickly settle this. So we are still going to come back to this again. So let me just, but now you can understand what we are doing. We are establishing an admin.php which now is defining for us the routes. Now since we have already implemented this controller, login controller here, let's just go to the app and let's just make this particular login controller. So this one should be done under the apps. So under the app here, we are going to go to the controllers. So under the controllers here, we are going to make, so let me just clear this. So here we're going to make an admin folder. Now this admin folder is going to have the login controller, which is going to handle the login or the login functionality of our website. So now let's create an admin folder. So under here we are going to create an admin folder here. Now this admin folder is the one we're going to create under PHP. So PHP artisan make, so PHP artisan make controller login controller. Now there's something we need to do here. So the login controller we're going to make is under the admin. So this particular, so from here we'll need to have the, we need to have this. So alright guys, so now this should be the correct form. So admin slash login controller. Now this one, once we hit, it should make a login controller within the admin. So we have a login controller. Now this login controller is the one which is going to have is going to implement the admin functionality within our website. Now I'll just copy some of the code here because I'm seeing the tutorial is taking much time. So let me just copy some of the code here, but I'll explain as we go along. So guys, this is the starting code that we're going. So what we are doing here, we are directing admins, are being directed to the admin, and as well we are having the function construct whereby it's going to log out the admin, or going to implement the logout functionality, and then this one is the show login form, which is going to show our login form as we go along. So now this is what we are starting in with the login controller. So now the next thing we need to do here, we need to implement, or we need to make a login blade for our admin. So let's just go to the next thing. Next thing we need to make is a login blade. Now a login blade is going to be made in the views. So I'll just quickly go to the views. Now under the views here, we're going to make the login blade. Now the login blade is similarly to what we have within our app. That is when we log out from here, we do have a login blade. Sorry, I think our server needs to be restarted again. So we'll need to have a login blade. So now the login blade is similarly as this one, as we can see here. Yes. So now this is the login blade that we are going to have. So this is what we are going to make, and what I'm planning is just to take this particular template and use it in our admin side. But as well, once you get this application, what you can do, you can change it and make it in whichever way you want. So let's just go back again and let's just check. So as I've said, what you're going to do here under views, you're going to make an admin, whereby the first thing will be sorry, this should not be a file, there should be a folder. So you're going to make an admin folder. Now under the admin folder, you're going to make another folder called Auth, which is going to be under the admin. So now once we are done with this one, what we need to do here, we need to create now we need to create the login blade. So let me just kill this server, sorry. So we are going to have this command now, attach resources out admin out login blade dot, so that we can create the login blade under this particular folder. So what we are going to do here, we are going to click enter. So now here we already now have a login blade, which is an empty page. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the login blade for the Jetstream and just copy and paste it to and paste it to the new login blade that we have made for admin, so that they can just use the same. Now what we need to do here is to make it different with the other one. The other one is for the normal user. We're now going to change this route and make it to the admin. So this is going to be admin login dot post. So this is what is going to be, so that the admin will now, under the route, as we said here, is going to establish for us the login route for us. So it's going to take it to the admin. So this is what happens within our admin page. So now we are now done with that one. So now let's go to the next thing. So now the next thing we need to do here is have the we are going back to the login controller, and now here we're going to establish the login functionality, so that the admins can get logged in, whether the person is an admin or is not an admin. So what you're going to do here, below this function show login form, just like we defined within the routes, now we are going to implement this particular functionality, which is the login. So here I'm just going to paste this code and explain it so that due to time. So what I'm doing here, let me just quiz it to. So what I'm doing here, we are going to validate whether the person is with the email, the password, and then we are going to use the authentication guard that we had made to establish the email, the password, and direct the particular person to the dashboard, whether he is or not an admin. So this is what happens within the login functionality. So now the next thing we are going to do, since we have implemented the login, the next one should be the logout functionality. So I'm also pasting this code. So this is going to be the logout functionality. I think should be at that pace. So now what we are establishing here is that we are checking if the person is an admin. Okay, the person will be the admin who has logged in. So once you log out, the admin will be logged out immediately. So now that's what happens in the login controller. Now the last one should be, so now the last one is already now since we already have the login, we have the show login form, we have the login, we have the logout, and this should be now the last one. Now the next thing we need to do is that now remember, we can have the admin, a person who is not an admin is an admin or not, or is a normal user, so he needs to get redirected if he is logged in. So the next thing we need to do here, we need to go to the redirect. If the person is not an admin, it should be redirected to the home page. So under the redirect, authenticated, if authenticated.php handles that. So we are going to establish this particular functionality here. So this functionality is whereby we are going to establish that if the person is authenticated, then the admin will now be taken to the dashboard. So I'm just going to edit this particular code here, whereby I'm just going to change it to mine. And what I'm establishing here, guys, is that we need to check if the person is if he's an admin. So what happens here is that here we are checking using the switch case. If the person is an admin, is directed to admin. If he's not, is directed to the home page. If he's an admin, will be directed to the dashboard. So this is what happens within this particular session here under redirective authenticated.php. So this is what happens under this. So let me just save this. So now let's go to the handler, which handles now if the person is not an admin, he should now be taken to the login page, whereby he should sign, whether he's a normal user, he should sign as a normal user and be redirected to his or her page. So that is what should happen next. The handler.php is going to handle if the person is not an admin, then he should be redirected to the login page. Now let's go to the handler.php. Remember, I'm explaining these things step by step so that you may be able to understand and implement. As well, you'll have the code in GitHub so that you can go and check and confirm whether you need to change if you implement such an application. So what we're going to do here, I'm just going to update this code below here. Now the handler.php is under the exception. Now the exception will handle whether the particular person is not an admin, it should be taken to the login page. Now let me just paste this code to save time. So what happens here, since some of this code is so what you need to do here, you just need to check if the person, what does here is, if the person is an admin, it should be taken to the login page. If the person is not an admin, it should be taken to the default, which is the login page. For example, this person is not an admin and is trying to log in as an admin, he will be taken back as a normal user. So this is what happens within the handler page. So you just update this code in this manner. So now lastly we need to check, now we need to go to the next thing we need to do is to update the admin.php. Now the admin.php, as we said, it handled what we created in the login controller, where we had the show login form, the login, and the logout functionality. Now when you go to the login controller, which is here, this is what we implemented: the login, the logout functionality, and the show login form. And then we also have this particular part which says protected redirect to. So we are now redirecting. If the person is an admin, he is redirected to the admin, and that is our command line here. So now let's go and update admin.php. Now admin.php, we are going to update it in terms of the authentication. We are going to enable it to have the authentication, the middleware authentication, whereby the person can be certified whether is an admin. Now let me just paste this. Now what we are doing here, we are going to have the route group middleware authenticate if the person is an admin, and then if is an admin, we are going to return him to this view, admin.dashboard.index. In other words, what we are establishing here is that the person will be taken to the admin will be taken to the dashboard, whereby he is able now to view what is in the dashboard. But for that to happen, the routes should establish a middleware which is going to authenticate if the person is an admin. So let me just have that one saved. So guys, I hope you understand this. It's just simple as this. We are just establishing the admin dashboard. So now it means now if we are going to have another return view admin dashboard, we need to create a dashboard within an index dashboard within our view. So let's just go to the view here. Now within the view here, remember we already have an admin here. So under this admin, we need now to create a dashboard, and this dashboard is going to be a folder, and then under the folder we're going to have a blade. So under the admin here, I'm going to create a dashboard. So this dashboard is a folder. Now under this dashboard, we are going to create the index .blade, should be .blade .php. So now that's what we have. So we have an admin dashboard index. So we are going to come back to this file later. Now this one presents what is in the admin dashboard, which is now presented under the index.php. So now the next thing we need to do here, we need to create the admins table, so that we can have an admin table which defines for us what is in the admin. For example, the password and so forth when the admin gets logged in. So now we need to do that under our tables. So let me just clear this. Now the next thing we need to do here, we need to run this command php artisan tables create admins table. So this should be this command should create for us the admins. This one should have that underscore. So php artisan migration make create admins table. So that's what we're going to do. There is an error here. Let me check again. So this should be php artisan make migration. So php artisan make migration create admins table should be this, and then once we hit this one, should create for us let me just check this. So guys, I'm getting an error in the handler.php. Now there's something we did not import, as it says because class app exception authentication is not available. So we need to import this class. There's a class here I did not import. so that's why it is unable to create for us the admins table. So let me just go to the handler. So under the handler, I have a class here which I should import just below here. So this is use that is authentication exception, which is this one, which is coming under this particular error. So let me save and let's try again and check if the database will be created for the admins table. So it's now successful. So now we already have admins table. So let's just locate that admins table. So it should be some. So this is the table. So now what we need to do here, I already have this table created. So let me just paste it to save time. So guys, this is it. So let me just paste this. So I already have the database created for this particular project. So what I'm going to do, what we are doing here is that we are establishing the admins table where we have an ID, a name, email, verify that password. So this is just the normal way we have any authentication like the users. So what we are just implementing now for the admin, so we are giving it an ID, name, email as well, like that. So this is what happens here. So what we can do here, we can migrate this table so that PHP artisan migrate, so that it can migrate this one. So this is migrated. Now let's go to the next thing. Now the next thing we need to do is that we need to make our model. Before that, we need to go to the seeders. Now in the seeders, we need to seed this particular table with the particular dummy data, so that whenever we log in, we already have some data we can work with as we log into our admin. So guys, we need to create under the seeders, we need to create just like we have the database seeder.php, we are going to create the admins table.php. So what we need to do here, we just need to come to the seeders and then just create another file here. Now this file is going to be the admins table. So this should be admins table seeder.php. So now this is what we're going to do here. So this one, I'm already having the code. So let me just paste this code here and let me just explain. So what we have in here is that we're going to create a fake admin. So we are just going to have admin at admin.com, and then the password is going just to be created randomly within this project. So this is what we are going to do. So we are going to run this particular in other words, once we seed this one, the table is going to be seeded with these particular details under this create admins. That is the email, the name, and the email. The ID will be generated automatically. So this is what happens here, so that we can establish the admins table. Now since we are now done with that one. Thing is already here. Now in the database.seeder, we need to call this class as well. That is under Laravel database handling. So what we need here, we need to call this particular class. Now I'm having this class call this admins table.seeder class so that it can seed our class here. So this one needs to be there so that we can call the admins database seeder.p. We are already now doing is that we need to have to establish the models. Now under the models, we need to locate the models, and under the models we can just use the manual way. So let me just locate the models. So the model should be under the app. Okay, so as well, it's just like we have the user.php here, whereby we have for example, we have the file label, the name, the email, the password. We're going to do similar thing to the admin. So come here under the models and make an admin.php. this should be admin.php, so that now this one is going to have the similar structure. Now in the admins.php, we are going to have this code. Now this code is going to establish for us the name, the email, and the password under the authentication as well. So it is going to link up with our database so that we are able to establish such. So this is what is happening in the admin PHP, that is admin.php. Now let me just save that one. So now this is so up to there, guys. If there's any question, you just write in the comment section below. So I could have done a bit more of explanation in terms of typing the code and all that, but due to time we'll just have to use this one. But what I would like you to understand is how to implement a Laravel multiple authentication using Jetstream. So now where we are now, the last thing we need to do, since we're almost through with this, to make this tutorial short. So now the next thing we need to do to finish up with this project is that now let's just check the application and see where we are. So let me run php artisan command and let's see where we are in already now. So let's just check in. So now let me just reload this page again and let's see where we are in terms of since now we already created the admins table seeder. Let's just seed our table with this particular information that we have created within our seeder. So what we're going to do here is that let me just destroy this server and let me just clear this. So what we're going to do here, we are going to have php artisan db seed, so that we can seed it with this particular information that we have. Okay, so now this is successful. So now that is done. Now the next thing we need to do, okay, there's something I'm remembering. We did not explain the .env. Now the .env, I had already created a database here within the XAMPP, so I'm using XAMPP. So there's already a database here. When you check name Laravel 8 app, and I believe you are not new to Laravel, so it's already under the XAMPP because I'm using PHP MySQL, so you need to take note of that. So let's continue. Now the next thing we need to do is that since we have already db'd the database, now we need to check where the application is working. Guys, let's check where this application is. Let me just run it again. php artisan serve. So now what happens here, let's just check where we are. So now this is the login for the normal user. So the normal user gets logged in as well, as we said. Now we need to check for the admin functionality, and let's see where we are in the admin. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to indicate the admin so that I may now be directed to the admin functionality page. Okay, now there's an error here that's coming. So class app exception array not found. So this one is being located under the exception handler.php. Now let's go to this file and see this error. So now let's locate the handler. So this is it. So this is handler. So what happens here, I forgot to import a particular array functionality here, since I'm using guard array exception guard. So this, under this particular, this is where the error is coming from. That is under this array not found. So what we need to do here, we need to import this. So I just need to import this particular class, and let's see if the application is working well. Okay, so login controller does not exist. Now this error is common if some of you have encountered such an error using Laravel Jetstream. So what we need to do here, we need to give a path in Laravel Jetstream. In other versions, this would work, but in Laravel Jetstream, this one will not work because we need to indicate the path, and this is where the path comes from. So what we need to do here, we need to come to the admin.php. Now at admin.php, it says it can't find this particular controller. So what we need to do here, this controller, login controller, is located under the app, and then under the app it's located. So this is the path. So the path is here. So the path is up, and then we are going to have it in this way. So up, and then the next one is HTTP, and then the next one is the controllers. So we are having controller should be, yes, so controllers, and then it's under the folder admin, the one we created earlier. So now this is it. So now this one should be applied to the rest of the, so that it may find this particular controller, which it says is not finding. I think there's a mistake here. Yes, let me just correct this. So now this is it, and then the last one should be this one. Okay, so now this is what happens. So we are having a app HTTP controllers admin, so that it can locate this particular file. So under Jetstream, we need to have this implemented. So then let's see if the error will go away. So let me refresh. So it says admin login controller. So admin authenticated users not found. So let's just check this error. So guys, this we also forgot to use the authenticated users not found. So we need to have it under the login controller. So let's go under the login controller. Now under the login controller, we need to find the authenticated users, and this is where it is. This is where it is. So under this one, we need to use this particular class, use illuminate Auth authenticate users, since we are already using it under this particular place here. So let's just save and check again. So let me just, so guys, this error is coming because in Jetstream Laravel 8, I need to install the Laravel UI. So what we need to do here is that after checking out this, so we need to run this command so that we can require the Laravel UI, so that this particular error will go away. So you just need to implement this one in your application. If you have any question, just comment them in the section below, and I'll be sure to follow up with you. So let's just wait for this one as it installs. Now guys, since the Laravel UI is installed, so the error has gone away. Now the next thing we need to do here is that I'm also having another error. Now this error is saying unexpected end if expecting end of file. So what we need to do here, since now we are in the admin other side, and remember we replicated the login blade from the login blade of the normal user, and we turned it we replicated it for the admin. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to go to the admin. So we're going to go to the place where we created the admin. Should be somewhere here. Now under the admin, we are going to create another file, and now this file we're going to name it app.blade.php. So now this is now going to be app.blade.php. Now here I already have a code, so to save time, let me so guys, this is now the code. So remember that your code will be in the GitHub. So you just go and experiment. Now what's happening here is that just ignore this CSS and font awesome and all that, since I use this one to create a particular project that I created for a particular client. So what happens here is that we are going to have the include. Okay, instead of now include partials.header here, since we do not have them, so let me just take this one out. For now they will not be useful. So what is happening here is that I'm going to implement this one. This is the app blade that is handling our login blade. So what's happening here now, we are going to yield the content. Now just ignore the rest of this. What we're going to do here, we are going to implement this at yield content. So now when this is implemented under the admin app.blade, now this error will go away, so that now we are able to log into the admin dashboard. Remember, the routes for admin dashboard are here, so you can just say admin.dashboard.index and so forth. So now let me just log in as an admin. So let me just go in as an admin. So now this one should take me. You can see now the error has gone away, since that app.blade is handling is now yielding the content from the login blade in the admin side. So this is the admin login blade, whereby we said we are routing it under the admin.login.post. So what we now need to do here, remember we created a dummy, we seeded our database with the dummy. So this should be the what we seeded. Password was password, so let me just copy this and paste here and change this to small, and let's see if it will log us to the admin dashboard. So you can see, so our application is now successful. So what we can do here, we can now log into the dashboard. Now on the dashboard, remember there is nothing, since we did not put anything here. But let's say, for example, I put this particular markup just for demonstration purposes. It should have something, maybe a document or something like let's put, so let me just put a p tag and have like the Laravel font, and let me just close this. So let's just try and see something. So at least there should be a change of something. Now this is your dashboard, and you can now create anything within the dashboard. Now remember, so now let's go back and check if this is true. Let's log in as the, now what we need to do, we need to, there's a logout functionality, remember, that we implemented in the, now if we go ahead and put this particular admin, we are able to log out in our application. And since time is too much spent, since it will not log me in till okay, so let me just, now I can log here as the normal user, whereby we implemented the normal user. Put, let me see if I'll be logged in. Okay, now you can see, now this is the normal user. So we have now successfully implemented the Laravel multiple authentication using Jetstream. Now what I would like you to go and do is that you can go and check any admin panel that you may want to use for the dashboard. For example, admin is a very good dashboard that you can use to implement. Now, for example, in our application here, we should have the logout and whereby you can log out as an admin, and then here the sidebar you can have the dashboard, whereby we have the sidebar for anything that you may keep there. So this is what you may use within the admin. So you can check out the Valley admin. It is in the GitHub. so forth. So to save time in this tutorial, this is where I'm going to reach. So where I've copied and pasted most of the code, you just have to forgive me because of the timing and to save time and to ensure at least you have understood. So remember we started in the auth. Remember we started in the auth, whereby we implemented the auth, and the auth we changed the guards. In other words, we added the admin guards within the password array, providers array, and so forth, and the password. And then what else we did? We went to the admin and implemented the routes, whereby we kept this particular routes within the admin and then we created a dashboard index, which is now the one we have just seen. And there's what else did we do? We went to the web.php, whereby we required the admin.php. We also went to controller.php, whereby we implemented the direct to the admin, and we implemented the show login and also the login itself and the logout functionality for admin. As well, we went to the login blade for the normal user. Remember, we copied and pasted it for the admin, and we only changed this to be admin login.post under this particular route here. So under this route which takes it to post. So that's what we did. And then what else did we do? Now the other thing we did was to make an admin dashboard. We made an admin we made a routes. Yes, we made an admin folder, and then we implemented the auth, the login, which you have just seen, the dashboard index, and then we also went to make a controllers, I think so. In other words, in the exception controller, we added if the person is not an admin, you'll be returned to the login page. And then we went also to the exception. In other words, we went to the redirect if not authenticated. In other words, if the person is not an admin, you'll be directed to the home page. So that's what we have done in this tutorial. Now if you have any question, I will sure comment it in the section below. So just comment there, and if you like this tutorial, just subscribe, share it with your friends, and let me see you in the next tutorial. If you have not understood this tutorial well, I'll do more refined of this tutorial in a near future. So guys, let's meet the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.